Hare Krishna. I'm Pandavadas. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, currently living here in Sridham, Mayapur. And the question was, how did I come to the movement? Well, that involves my wife. Back at that time, I was working in the corporate world. I was area manager of 12 automotive stores, over 100 employees, working like 7 in the morning to 7 at night. And my wife worked for a phone company from 8 to 5. So at that particular point in our lives, we had become vegetarians for quite some time, and then we decided to do a cleansing fast of nothing but fruit juice for 30 days, and we were chanting Om under a guidance of a herbalist, African-American herbalist, who was doing levitation. And we were doing that around the Kartik time of the year, which is very important time. It's more spiritual benefit. And at the end of the fast, my wife had decided to stay on the fruit juice only fast until she could find a spiritual master, because this particular person said that he wouldn't be a spiritual master. So one day my wife went over to Georgia State University, and the ISKCON devotees from the Hare Krishna temple had set up a book table. They had prasadam and books and magazines. And she was looking there. They were trying to give her some prasadam, but she was fasting, so she wouldn't take any solids. But she did see a Mayapur magazine, and she immediately wanted to pick that up and read it. So she took that and read it and fell in love with Mayapur and wanted to come move here. Because my wife was very spiritually inclined. She had gone to Bible college and always was like actively preaching about the Lord. So she was sharing with me, but she would go by the temple after work. She'd get off at 5. I'd still be working till 7. She'd go by there and talk to the devotees and get books and see the deities and get prasadam. And so then she was trying to help me move down this path spiritually. So she had like a 5-point plan. When I'd get off work, I was very tired. I'd get home. She would have she would cook up a gourmet meal and offer it to the deities, pictures, and she would put incense, burn some incense, and put the transcendence tape on the player. So when I get home, there'd be nice incense burning, hear transcendence, Hare Krishna bhajans going on. And she would feed me Krishna prasadam in our formal dining room, which we hardly used. And then she would light some candles, and then she would read from the Krishna book. While I'd taken prasadam, she would sit over there and read from the Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam. And I was becoming very interested. So my wife got Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita as it is, and since I didn't have time, the amount of hours I worked, I didn't have time much for reading. So she got the Bhagavad Gita and she read it all out onto cassette tapes, audio cassette tapes, and then she gave that box of tapes to me while I'm driving around all over the city to the different stores. I would be listening to Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita and his elaborate purports. And that's the way you really get to know the spiritual master, is through his purports, through his writings. And I was becoming very interested. It seemed to be the right path to go. And then she encouraged me to start chanting. And you can just chant 1 round a day starting off. So I started chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so I'm just driving around on the interstates around Atlanta, getting to the different stores and chanting. And soon I was doing like 4 rounds a day. And it was making a huge difference in my life. That was the the chanting, my heart was becoming softer. I was becoming more loving, more friendly. So it was causing some problems at work because I'm supposed to be a kind of a hard-nosed, firm employee manager. And so I was doing that. I was wondering what's going on, what is happening here. It was a change in me. And it's all based on the Lord Krishna's holy name, the sacred Maha Mantra. So also hearing Srila Prabhupada's book and then hearing Krishna book at night when I come home and smelling the incense and all that made a big change in my life. And I started chanting more and more and started to read more of Srila Prabhupada's books. So you should try it in your life. It's very important. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, I'm Pandavadas. I live here in Mayapur. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia in America. And the question was, what effect has or influence has Srila Prabhupada had on your life? And for me, this is the 50th year anniversary of Srila Prabhupada coming to America to bring this movement outside of India and to spread it all over the world. But he started right there in America, just in New York and San Francisco and LA. And his disciples have gone out. They went to England and other countries, and they've taken this movement all over the world. And also Srila Prabhupada has gone to Russia and England and France, different places. So Srila Prabhupada built a house the whole world can live in. I can travel all over the world, and there's different cities, whether it's in Russia or England or Germany or America or in South America, Brazil or Peru. And then I can go in and see the beautiful deities and associate with devotees and take some Krishna prasadam. And what a wonderful blessing that is, to have the whole world, as Prabhupada built this house, the whole world can live in. And Mayapur is our world headquarters. So to be here is, Srila Prabhupada put a lot of time here. He spent some time here. He walked around on this sacred soil. So it's a very wonderful place. And then also Srila Prabhupada, he said if you want to get to know the spiritual master, you know him through his writings, through his books. So Srila Prabhupada has put himself into his purports. And if you want to know Srila Prabhupada and then have that influence on your life, then you can read his books, the books he wrote, the Bhagavad Gita as it is, the Srimad Bhagavatam, these books that he translated into English. And then Srila Prabhupada brought this chanting of Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's the great chanting for deliverance, the great sacred Maha Mantra. And by this, just try it yourself. Chant one round a day, which is doing that 108 times is one round. And try that every day and see what difference it makes in your life, how it comes in and touches your heart. And so we thank again Srila Prabhupada for all of his mercy. Haribol.
Hare Krishna. So, my name is Sadanand Krishna Prem Das, a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj Guru Maharaj, and I think I'm very fortunate to be here in Mayapur, and I would like to tell you how Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON, has affected my life. So it's amazing, in the year 1998 in Guwahati, the first time I came to know ISKCON, and through them the books that Srila Prabhupada wrote. I mean, the first book that I read of Srila Prabhupada was Journey to Higher Planets. That was one book. So when I read that book, I got very inquisitive about spiritual life and thought it's wonderful, And when I went back home, I told everybody, in fact, I shouted at the top of my voice that, Krishna is God. Can you believe it? I never knew that, right from my childhood. In India, at least, everybody knows Krishna. But I never knew Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. that there are demigods, there are cabinet ministers, kind of, he has got a whole setup, kind of, and everybody thought there are so many gods. In fact, let me share this with you. One person asked me, it was from a different religion, that why you have so many gods. And I couldn't answer him, I said, yes, he's right. Why we have so many gods? I never knew. So Srila Prabhupada really gave us the knowledge that it's not that we have so many gods. We have only one God, and that is Krishna. And the others are his followers, like the scriptures say, that ekole Krishna, ekole Ishvara Krishna, aro sakole britto. Means everybody else is just a servant of the Lord. That I came to know when I met Srila Prabhupada, and that gave me a purpose in life, that there is God, is not impersonal. He is a person, and Srila Prabhupada said he can come and meet you, he can handshake with you, and I thought, wow, that's possible. Amazing, it was, and I was like thrilled to know about this, and immediately I started to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, and I was asking the priest, what are the rules that I have to follow? He said you need to follow 4 regulatory principles, which are meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. And it did make sense to me to know that actually they are sinful, because they are not the right thing to do. And I said, yes, I must follow these principles. Though it was not easy for me to start off, immediately start, following those principles. But gradually, since I had the desire, Krishna fulfilled those desires. And today, I can say with some pride as a devotee, like scripture says, it's nothing wrong to be proud to be devotee, that I am at least a second initiated devotee of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, which has taken me a lot of time and effort, and that I feel is a success in my life to be here in this garden. And though it's not like I wouldn't say like it's a very great success in spiritual life, but still to some extent, since I'm a bit materialistic person, so I believe there's a landmark for me to come to this state where I at least got, and second initiated. I feel good about it, So Srila Prabhupada has really made such a big difference to my life, and not only my life, to everybody's life here in Mayapur. Whoever comes here, he would thank millions of times every day. Must be that Srila Prabhupada is you. Otherwise, where would I be? If there was no Srila Prabhupada, we would be nowhere. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. My name is Sadananda Krishna Premdas. I am a disciple of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, Guru Maharaj. And I just feel so fortunate to be here in Mayapur today and speaking to you all about how I came to this movement. So actually, I would say it's such a big fortune or such a great stroke of luck, whatever we say, that I'm here somehow, in devotional service. Like in the scripture says, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Prapadante Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. It says that after many, many lifetimes, one gets to get devotional service. It's very rare to get devotional service. Also, it says that it's very rarely one person gets a guru. After many, many lifetimes, you get a guru and then start making progress in devotional service. And you go up, and one day, finally, you reach the spiritual planet. And you are in the spiritual sky with Krishna in the Vaikuntha. Can you believe it? You would be in the eternal sky, where there is no time, where everything is in the present. Like here, we think there is present, but actually there is not. There is no present. I was hearing a lecture the other day, and somebody asked Guru Maharaj that what do you think about what is actually being present? I don't understand in spiritual sky. Then he said that actually there is no present in the material world. In the material world, it's like the present is the the immediate past. That's what you call present. Just like to explain this to you, that whenever we see something, like a ray of light gets into the retina, that gets into the brains, and then forms a picture, and then we get to see a thing. So there is some milliseconds in that. So what we see is actually it takes around milliseconds to see one thing. So it's not actually the real present. So I was very amazed to know that actually we are not in present. We are never in present. So who would not want to be in the present? Who would not want to be in the real time? Spiritual world is real time. So today I got to know about this, that I am in a world which is an illusion. You know, we are in illusion. It's very, very difficult to understand though. Initially when we come to the movement, we may not want to, we would not get this point. But philosophically we can understand, and gradually when we practice, we can even understand practically that actually this is not the place to be, you know. So how I came to this movement was through Srila Prabhupada's mercy. When I first read Srila Prabhupada's books in Guwahati, in the ISKCON temple, the book was Journey to Higher Planets, and it was a wonderful book. It told very nicely about how this world is actually a material world, and there is also an opposite world called anti-material world, or the spiritual world, where Krishna exists, and that's where we need to go. We need to go back to Godhead. So everybody in this world thinks they are selfish, right? But actually they are not. Selfish means thinking about yourself, but you're not thinking about yourself. If you really think about yourself, you need to go back to the spiritual world. Otherwise you're foolish. You understand? So let's be at least thinking about ourselves, you know, about our own self-interest, that we need to go back. We don't want to stay in this place which is completely miserable. You understand? So if you understand that, we take up this process of bhakti, and when we take up this process of bhakti, Krishna gives you more and more chance to advance. Like in my case, Krishna allowed me to come back here to Dham, and I'm here and I'm initiated and I'm practicing devotional service every day. In the morning I go to Mangalarti, attend Bhagavatam, attend the Darshanarti, chant 16 rounds in a day. Then after that I serve here in Dham in my Guru Maharaj office, where I have to transcribe lectures of my Guru Maharaj, which is a completely spiritual work. And then I have prasadam, which is spiritual food. So you know, from morning till night everything is spiritual, is completely auspicious, you know. And so I know, I'm very confident about my life, that I am going towards light. Like in Vedas it says, tamaso ma jyotirgama, from darkness go to light. So we have to go to light in this human form of life. And so this is very fortunate that one day I came to know about this movement, and today I'm here. And I want to share this with everybody, so that everybody can benefit, not just me. And if I do that, Krishna will be pleased. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I am Sumedha Gaura Krishna Das. So how I came to Krishna consciousness is very interesting. So one of my very old friend, whom we both were colleagues, almost after 13-14 years, once he came to Bangalore, where I was staying earlier before coming to Mayapur. So I was completely a different person, before. I didn't know anything about Krishna consciousness. And that person, whom I met after 13 years, so in fact, that person used to be also different when we were together. So when I saw him after 13 years of gap, I found a very different personality inside him. And I just inquired, what made you change so many things, the way of life and, the way you talk. So he gave me a couple of Srila Prabhupada books to read, and also gave me a contact number, to go to the nearest temple and, attend some of the classes. So I started visiting a couple of classes and also read the books what he has given. So slowly, I got inspired from the books, and also I liked the temple environment and the association and the feast, and all those things really went well. And slowly, I went deep inside it, and that's where where I am today. I'm really enjoying. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. I'm Sumedha Gaura Krishna Das. So I am from Bangalore. Before coming to Krishna consciousness movement, so I'm sorry to say, I could not hear Prabhupada, or neither I had a chance to read any of his books. But as I was mentioning in one of the other conversations, so I got the books from my friend. So when I went through it, it actually gave me a clear understanding, like, what is the goal of life, and what should be our motto, and where should be our energy to be put in. What is really worth of the life, what the work, we should really do it. That was a crystal clear definition which is given by Srila Prabhupada. So by reading this book, I also became very serious in my day-to-day life. So what are the things I should do, and what are the things I should not do it? What should be my priority in my life, and what should the goal of life? What is the next happens, like, when we die? So all these things become very clear, which really inspires, and it helps me to live a meaningful life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My name is Jagannath Das. Although I was born well after the manifest pastimes of Srila Prabhupada, I can say that without his influence in my life, I would be dead. The environment I grew up in had a lot of problems with drug use, obesity, depression, and I was not doing well before I met devotees. I can say that the devotee who I did meet is an expression of Srila Prabhupada's mercy on my life and in the life of my family, especially my mother, who's now practicing Krishna consciousness as well in US. Hare Krishna. My name is Jagannath Das. How I came to Krishna consciousness is a story that begins before I was born. In 1977, a month before Srila Prabhupada wound up his manifest pastimes, my mother was in an airport in New Orleans. She had run away from home and got sick with one of those diseases you can only catch in the bayou of Nolens. Being from Kansas City, she wanted to go back home, but didn't have a ticket or money. She was in the airport trying to figure out how she would get back home when a devotee approached her. He pinned a flower on her shirt, waved an incense in front of her nose, and asked for a donation. She said, "I wish I could help you, but I'm sick, I don't have any money, and I just can't." This devotee took so much compassion that he gave her a book, and not only that, he gave her $1. I'd never heard in my life of any devotee on book distribution giving somebody else $1. But because he did that, she had a powerful first impression that she never forgot. Later, when she made it back to Kansas City, she was in the library of my great-grandfather. He was a former Dow chemical scientist, chemist, and had a very nice personal library organized into categories, one of which was odd books. And in the odd books section, he had one volume of Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam. In 1983, my mother was in that library with me in the womb, and she later told me that she read the pastime of Draupadi with her cloth being stolen to me in the womb. She wanted me to hear that. Later, I remember being about 7 years old and finding the book that she got in that airport in New Orleans. It was the teachings of Lord Kapila, son of Devahuti. Being 7, I wasn't much of a reader, and I looked through the pictures and found Mahavishnu laying in the causal ocean with the bubbles of universes coming out of the pores of his skin. And I was first struck by the fact that he's blue. Blue people are awesome. That was the way I was thinking. And what reading I could do, I looked at the bottom of the picture and read that it says, Mahavishnu lays in the causal ocean. Now, I didn't have the word causal, so I thought it said casual ocean. And he was laying back, looking quite relaxed. I'd lay back, but I'd fall off the building. And I thought I would also like to lay down in the casual ocean. I was kind of a lazy kid. When I was a teenager, I went to this music store, and they sold incense, and one of the incenses had Radha Krishna on the front. That was spiritual sky incense. And I thought, more blue people. Awesome. And I would always buy that incense and those oils, even though the quality was really weird sometimes, with names like Black Magic. Finally, I graduated high school and went to college. In college, I became more philosophical, and I started thinking how I wanted to help every living entity. Because I was in an art college with other creative thinkers, I still was able to have some friends to talk with about such an unusual topic. But it really was a theoretical exercise, and I felt that even though I wanted to help every living entity, I had no practical way to do it. This led to depression. Being unable to apply my philosophy, which I took seriously, felt like a dead end. So I remembered my Catholic background growing up, and I was sitting in my studio working on my thesis, and I prayed, "Dear God, if you exist, please help every living entity so I can stop worrying about it." 3 days later, I met a Sankirtan devotee who came to my college, and he was standing about a mile away from me. On the campus of the art college, there were very elaborately dressed people going here and there, looking very colorful on a bright sunny day. And I saw one person just standing there with a stack of books, looking very normal with his pants and shirt. And I thought, that's so normal, it's weird. Maybe he's a philosophical person. So I went up to him and asked, "Do you know anything about God and if he can help every living entity?" He was pleasantly surprised by the question. He said, "Yes." And he showed me a verse from Bhagavad Gita, "Bhoktaram yagatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam gyattvamam shantim richati." He pointed out in the word for word meaning that suhridam sarvabhutanam means that God has a good heart for every living entity. I was hooked. I thought, that is relevant. I took him to my art studio, which he kindly went to, showed him the work I was doing. He said it was in the mode of goodness. Then he went back to distribute more books. That was Ananda Vidya Prabhu. I thank you for that, Prabhu. That was 2005. I joined the ashram while I was still finishing up college, and after graduating with my bachelor's degree in fine art, I continued living full-time in the temple as a brahmachari. That's how I joined. Hare Krishna.
হরে কৃষ্ণা। আমি আরাধ্য গৌরাঙ্গ দাস। আমি কলকাতায় জন্মগ্রহণ করেছি, কিন্তু তারপর আমি মায়াপুরে এসে এখন বসবাস করছি। মায়াপুরকে আমি ভালোবাসি কারণ মায়াপুর শ্রী চৈতন্য মহাপ্রভুর জন্মস্থান, এবং মায়াপুরে শুধু চৈতন্য মহাপ্রভুই নন, আরও আমাদের বৈষ্ণব আচার্যবৃন্দের পীঠস্থান। মায়াপুরের শ্রী বিগ্রহ শ্রী শ্রী রাধা মাধব পঞ্চতত্ত্ব আর প্রহ্লাদ নৃসিংহদেব আমাকে খুবই কাছের মনে হয়। মায়াপুরের প্রকৃতি, পরিবেশ, গঙ্গা খুবই 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 মনোরম।